Hello everyone, this video is specifically targeted to the audience who are at the age of 42. Okay, so when I say 42, which means if you have completed your 41st birthday, you are in your 42nd year. All right, which means if your birthday was January 1st, 1983, so this year, January 1st, you have entered your 42nd year. All right. And Rahu plays a very significant role for everyone at the age of 42. Okay. And we will analyze where Rahu is in your chart and how it will affect you, whether the results will be positive or it will be negative. But everyone at the age of 42 will have an impact of Rahu. Okay. Now, the people who will have more impact of Rahu are the people who are running through Rahu Mahadasha. Okay? People who are going through the Antardasha of Rahu. All the Pisces ascendants or Pisces moon people, where moon is in Pisces, or if you're a Pisces ascendant, and if you're nearing, you're at the 41st year, or if you've passed 42nd year, why Pisces? Because Rahu is transiting in Pisces right now. All right. So all the Pisces ascendant people, pay attention to this video as well, especially if you're going through Rahu Mahadasha or Rahu Antardasha. Okay. This video is very, very important for you. If you want to see the Pisces ascendant video, I'm going to add the Pisces ascendant right here. And I'm going to explain with the Pisces ascendant so that you guys understand Rahu a little better. Okay. So we have to open up your birth chart first. All right. Open up your birth chart and see where Rahu is placed. Okay. We're going to do two things now. We will first look at which house Rahu is placed in. Number one. And second thing, we will see which sign Rahu is placed in. Okay. So if you're a Pisces ascendant person, Rahu is in your first, if Rahu is in your first house, that means it's a Rahu return for you. All right. So if you're a Pisces ascendant, you will check the position of Rahu and see how strong Rahu is. Okay. I have made a video on the strength of Rahu in the Rahu Mahadasha video and all about Rahu. So I'm going to add these two videos right here so that you can get a detailed analysis of Rahu, especially once going through Rahu Mahadasha. So Rahu does a good job in the second house, third house, sixth house, 10th house, and 11th house. I repeat, Rahu will do a good job in the second house, third house, sixth house, 10th house, and 11th house. For all ascendants, this is a strong position for Rahu. Okay. Now we will look at which sign Rahu is strong in. Rahu doesn't like certain signs. Rahu doesn't like any of the fire signs. Rahu is not good in the water signs as well because the element of Rahu is air. The tattva is smoke. Okay. So we will look at which are the signs Rahu is powerful in. So Rahu is friends with Mercury. So Rahu is powerful in all the Mercurian sign, which is Gemini, very, very strong, and also very strong in Virgo. Rahu is friends with Venus. Therefore, Rahu is strong, very, very strong in Taurus. Rahu is also strong in Libra. Rahu is friends with Saturn as well. So Rahu is very strong in the Saturn signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. So these are the signs Rahu is strong in. Rahu is considered the strongest in Taurus and Gemini. It's considered the exaltation point. Rahu in Taurus is considered an exalted position for Rahu. Okay. Now we will look at some examples. So now you have to combine both these things. So if you're a Pisces, let's look at the Pisces ascendant. So if you're a Pisces ascendant, I'm talking about the Pisces ascendant because Rahu is transiting through your Lagna right now. All right. And you might be getting weird results of Rahu if you're going through Rahu Mahadasha or Antardasha right now. Okay. So we will look at the Pisces ascendant. In Pisces ascendant, look at the second house. The second house is Aries. So if Rahu, I just said that Rahu is good in the second house because Rahu expands your savings and, your wealth. The money that it's one of the main money houses, the second house. Your ancestral wealth is seen from the second house. But Rahu in the second house of Pisces may cause a lots of ups and downs in the family, because your family is also seen from the second house. It can also cause a lot of ups and downs. Even though Rahu house-wise is good here, why? Because Rahu does not do good in fire signs. And Aries is a very fiery sign. Now, will it always give bad results if you're a Pisces ascendant and Rahu is in your second house? No, it will not. Because if Mars is well placed, we have to look at the position of Mars. Because wherever Rahu sits, Rahu takes the role, assumes the role, self-appointed lord of that particular house. All right? And I'm talking about especially if Rahu is alone. Rahu will do good with his friends. Rahu's friends are Mercury, Venus, and Saturn. And Rahu considers Sun and Mars as its enemy, doesn't like the moon also. All right? Jupiter is kind of neutral. Rahu, I would consider Jupiter as neutral. Rahu doesn't like Jupiter, but Jupiter has power over Rahu and has the control of making Rahu not do bad things. So if you have Jupiter and Rahu conjunction, leave a comment and I will analyze and I'll try to answer your questions if you have Jupiter and Rahu. It causes a yoga called Guru Chandaal yoga, which can be very good as well. Okay. So let's consider Rahu is alone in the Pisces ascendant in the second house and Mars is exalted in the 11th house. Now this yoga can cause a very, very powerful Dhan yoga and money making yoga for a person, even though Rahu is not good in Aries. Okay. Why? Because the second house and the 11th house is getting connected. It's a very powerful Dhan yoga caused by Mars and Rahu. And if you're going through the Mahadasha of Rahu, or even if you're going through the Mahadasha of Mars, and you have hit the age of 41, 42, this yoga could give you a lot of gains money-wise. If you're running a business, suddenly your business can boom. If you're into fitness, Mars is the significator of fitness. If you're a health coach on Instagram, right? I'm just giving you an example which connects with Rahu and Mars. All right? Rahu is illusion. Rahu is not real. Rahu is all technology. So Mars exalted in Capricorn is a very good sign for someone who's a fitness coach. All right? Or is into yoga and posts their videos on Instagram. Suddenly you will see your Instagram followers and consultations and everything has boomed up. One of your videos might have gotten viral. It's a combination of Mars and Rahu. Rahu is anything that you do in social media virtually. Anything that you're using technology with. All technology is Rahu. And Rahu is endless desire. So when Rahu expands, it expands like crazy. So people can become millionaire during this time. They can reach the highs. They can become very, very famous as well. All right. So I would like all the viewers to be able to understand and be able to analyze. Just because I say Rahu is good in the second house or third house and you will say, no, I'm not getting good results. You have to look at the sign. And you have to look at where the depositor is placed. Now the same Rahu in the second house, we'll stick to the Pisces ascendant, apply it on your other charts and figure it out. And if you have questions, ask me, I'll be happy to answer your questions. So if the same Rahu in the second house of Pisces, all right, will give very bad results if Mars is not very well placed. For example, if Mars goes to the 5th house here, is the debilitation point of Mars. So a person can have a terrible time, may have a lot of conflicts with children. If your parents, you might have issues related to your children. You might have health related issues with your stomach area, acidity, you could have a surgery in your stomach area. All right. So make sure that you understand the position of Rahu. Couple of things, if you're in any ascendant, okay, check it like this. I have told you what are the good houses. Once again, I'm going to repeat. The good houses for Rahu is house number 2 is the house of wealth, finance. Rahu expands it. House number 3 is the house of communication. Rahu likes to communicate. Rahu in the first house, you will see people talk a lot. All right. Rahu in the third house becomes very powerful if it's very well placed. For example, if Rahu, if you are, let's consider Pisces ascendant. Okay. If Rahu is in the third house, it's exaltation. And if Venus is, we have to look at the depositor. Okay. So Rahu in the third house, the first thing done. Rahu in the third house, very, very strong. Why is exalted? Now, if Venus is debilitated, if Venus comes to your first house, Venus is debilitated in the first house of Pisces ascendant, because Venus debilitates, Venus exalts in your first house. So if Venus is exalted, this is fantastic time for you to do anything to do with communication or writing work, or anything to do, any creative work where communication is involved or your hands are involved. The same thing will give bad results if Venus comes to the seventh house and debilitates in the sign of Virgo. Okay. So these are the things that we must look at. Couple of things you must remember. I have repeated it in my other videos about Rahu. So take a look at it. Rahu at the age of 41, 42, if Rahu is not well placed, and if you're going through Rahu Mahadasha, or Rahu Antardasha, or the sign that Rahu is in. For example, Rahu is in Sagittarius and you're going through Jupiter Mahadasha, Rahu will still activate at the age of 42. Okay. Do not indulge in intoxication, number one. Do not look at shortcuts, because Rahu will fill you up with desires and you would want to complete your desires. You will think that time is running short and I have to do everything right now. I'm 40 years old. I have not reached my dream of buying this land or traveling the world. And the desires will be pertaining to the house Rahu is in and the sign Rahu is in. So if you're a Leo ascendant and Rahu is in your 10th house of Taurus, okay, Rahu will give you a great desire for doing crazy things with Taurus and your 10th house, and you would really want to make money and be successful. Okay, so make sure that your desires don't make you do anything wrong. Don't try to get into shortcuts, because Rahu will get you into trouble. Okay, so the same Rahu which can give you great results at the age of 42 can give you lots of problems at the age of 42. Okay, it can get you locked up if you break the law. People, if you have Rahu and Mars conjunction and it's not very good, if it's happening in a bad house and if it's happening in a bad sign, for example, if you have Rahu and Mars conjunction in Scorpio, please make sure that you do not lose your temper, because Rahu and Mars forms yoga that causes anger. It's called Angarak yoga. So people can get into a fight and kill someone. They can lose all their money in gambling. I have seen all this with people who have come to me for consultation. So be very careful. I hope you like the video. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'm happy to help you. Thank you very much for your time.